Hello and welcome to the Future of Mining podcast. I'm your host, John Varson, the coordinator of FEMP. FEMP is an acronym for the Federation of European Minerals Programs, which is a not-for-profit foundation partnering with academia and industry to support education and sustainable mineral resources in Europe. The Future of Mining is our show about how the perception of mining is shifting and how the Critical Raw Materials Act is creating new opportunities for the future. Today we're exploring the European Critical Raw Materials Act and its vital role in shaping the future of mining and mining education in Europe. Let's start with some context. The European Critical Raw Materials Act, enacted in May 2024, aims to secure the EU's supply of essential raw materials such as lithium, cobalt and rare earth elements. These materials are indispensable for various high-tech applications from smartphones to electric vehicles and even renewable energy systems. So why is this act so important? Well, historically, Europe's been heavily dependent on imports of these raw materials, making the region vulnerable to supply disruptions and price volatility and geopolitical influences. The Act's goal is to reduce the dependency by promoting domestic sourcing, processing and the recycling of these materials. Setting ambitious targets for the EU, by 2030 it aims to extract 10%, process 40% and recycle 25% of these critical raw materials within its borders. This will reduce our dependency on external suppliers and enhance the EU's strategic autonomy. For mining engineers and students considering a career in this field, this Act represents an exciting and transformative opportunity. As the EU pushes for increased domestic production, there is a growing demand for skilled professionals who can innovate and implement sustainable mining practices. The Act also emphasizes the need for skilled engineers who can develop sustainable extraction and processing methods. This is where the European Mining Course fits in. The program is designed to equip students with the knowledge and skills needed to meet these challenges. By understanding the critical aspects of sustainable mining, students can play a pivotal role in shaping the future of the industry, whether it's through developing new extraction technologies or optimizing recycling processing. Mining engineers are at the forefront of ensuring that Europe can meet its strategic goal in a sustainable manner. Let's look a bit deeper into the Act. The Critical Raw Materials Act was introduced in May last year by the European Union to address the growing need for essential or critical raw materials. These materials are critical for manufacturing of various technologies such as smartphones, electric vehicles, and renewable energy systems. Firstly, the EU identified which raw materials are considered critical to enable industrial activity and for security. As you can imagine, it has become even more pressing and obvious in the last few months with the recent geopolitical unrest and the ongoing war in Ukraine. These critical raw materials are essential for the EU's economic development and have a high risk of supply disruption. What actually gets on the list of critical raw materials involves detailed analysis of global supply chains, geopolitical factors, and technological trends to ensure that the EU can continue to prosper. The second key aspect of the Act focuses on securing supply chains, which includes several specific measures that are being put in place. Firstly, diversifying where the EU sources these critical raw materials. Unfortunately, we cannot get everything we need in the future within the EU borders. So we need to develop strong partnerships with countries that have abundant resources, while at the same time reducing our reliance on any single supplier. We also need to continue to develop our own domestic resources, which is perhaps controversial in many parts of Europe. Mining or resource extraction have a long and somewhat dark history in Europe. There is a strong not in my backyard mentality where we need to move to a better in my backyard mentality. The dark history of mining is far behind us. It is no longer the dirty, dangerous, low-tech work that many think of. Today, it is high-tech, clean, and increasingly sustainable. Which is why it is better to mine here, where we can better control and manage how the materials are extracted and ensure the most efficient and sustainable practices are used. Europe still has a wealth of raw materials available. Investing in exploration and mining projects within Europe will be key to boosting local production and ensuring the EU has the supply of critical raw materials it needs for the future. However, opening a new mine in Europe is challenging. From discovering an economically viable ore body through to gaining the necessary permitting approval and financing the process can take years or decades. A few years ago I visited a small mine in Finland that took 45 years from finding the ore to starting the mine. Speeding up this process will be critical to meeting the Act's goals. We also need to establish strategic reserves of these critical raw materials. As we saw recently, China stopped exporting some rare earth metals. While this was only temporary, it highlights the supply risk. Individual governments are already taking action to create strategic stockpiles of some critical materials, especially important for the defence of the EU. Industry also needs to play its part. So perhaps we will continue the move away from just-in-time supply that began with COVID and established reserves to buffer against supply disruption and price spikes. Another key aspect of the Act is sustainability. Europe already leads the way in this regard with some of the cleanest and most efficient mines. Of course, we need to continue developing and implementing extraction techniques that help minimize environmental impact. The circular economy is also critical in Europe. While recycling will not cover all of our current or future needs, it will help to bridge the gap in supply and make Europe both more resilient and cleaner. Encouraging the recycling and reuse of these materials is an important part of ensuring we have the critical raw materials available. The more we can recycle, the less we will need in new extraction. The Act also has a strong emphasis on innovation and research, which will enable Europe to lead the way on extraction, processing and recycling technologies. The EU, through several of its funding agencies, is helping to fund this innovation and research by providing grants and equity funding. It's amazing to see the progress that some of these startups and research projects are making in the extraction and processing technologies. This funding also encourages collaboration between universities, research institutes, and industry as they drive technological advancement. The Act also stresses education and skills development, with a large number of people needed to help drive the expected growth in extraction, processing and technology. Attracting talent to the industry will also be critical. Education is the key for the next generation of mining engineers, as they upskill themselves to meet the enormous challenges the industry faces. Universities play a key role in upskilling the future mining engineers, working together with industry as they develop their curriculum to better meet these future needs. Building on the strong foundational knowledge of their existing programs, they are integrating topics on sustainable mining practices, new technologies such as autonomous vehicles, and AI tools to their programs to better fit with the current and future needs of students and industry. This is also where the European Mining Course comes in. As the leading triple degree master's program, it's a perfect option to start building your career in this dynamic and essential industry. So how does all this impact you? Let's break down how the Act aligns with the role of a mining engineer. Firstly, it opens a range of opportunities. There's strong demand for innovative solutions to make mining more sustainable and efficient. Mining engineers will be a critical part of the teams that develop these solutions. Your understanding of the issues and complexity will make you indispensable in guiding and implementing these changes. Of course, let's not forget about the new mines and operations that will need to be developed as Europe focuses on securing its raw materials. Engineers will need to develop methods that minimize environmental impact while maximizing efficiency. This will create increased job opportunities in exploration, processing, and sustainability. Will you be ready to take advantage of this boom in demand? The Critical Raw Materials Act will also have a global impact on the sector. As supply chains move and new resources come on stream, your work will also contribute to meeting global sustainability goals and to the technological advancement of the industry as it meets the challenges of working in a more highly regulated environment. For students pursuing a career in the raw materials sector, this Act signifies a shift towards more sustainable and technologically advanced practices. The European Mining Course is tailored to provide the knowledge and skills needed to excel in this evolving landscape. To all the aspiring engineers out there, the European Critical Raw Materials Act isn't just a policy, it's a call to action. It's an invitation to be part of a transformative era in mining, where your expertise can drive innovation and sustainability. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Future of Mining podcast. If you've enjoyed the discussion, be sure to subscribe for more insights into the world of mining education and the industry's transformation. Until next time, keep looking towards the future.